South Africa and Mozambique are strengthening bilateral relations today. President Cyril Ramaphosa is hosting his Mozambican counterpart, President Filipe Nyusi, in Pretoria. The leaders will take part in the third session of the binational commission between the two nations. The meeting was preceded by foreign affairs ministers who met yesterday. South Africa and Mozambique share strong historical ties arising from the solidarity formed during the two nations' struggles against colonialism and apartheid. The commission will evaluate progress on all outstanding projects and the implementation of commitments of the second BNC and will reaffirm the bilateral relations and enhance cooperation between South Africa and its neighbour.
Mozambique remains one of South Africa's top trading partners in the region, and there are several opportunities that are out there between the two countries for expansion to advance the economic development of our two countries. South Africa is keen in particular to expand cooperation in a number of sectors between our two countries, but especially also in the energy sector. Mozambique is endowed with significant volumes of natural gas. This can benefit not only the people of Mozambique and South Africa, but also the rest of the SADC region. Energy security is vital to economic growth in our respective countries, and we look forward to significant progress towards securing and sustaining our energy needs. Our two countries share a common view on issues of peace, stability, economic development, regional and continental integration. We are both undertaking programs to advance the lives of our people in various sectors. For instance, with regard to youth development and women's empowerment, poverty alleviation and job creation, there are a number of common initiatives that are underway and many others that we can embark upon together. These are some of the concrete steps we need to take to realize the vision of the African Union's Agenda 2063 with a view of improving our people's lives.
More on those binational commission meetings. I'm joined now by our reporter, Khayelihle Khumalo, who's covering that story for us. Thanks very much, Khayelihle, for joining us. Now, for some time, South Africa has been battling with the energy crisis, of course. What can we expect to be achieved out of those talks, since Mozambique is a big energy supplier?
Well, that's right, Nombu. So energy is one of the main features that really was very prominent during the course of the discussions between two leaders. And of course, President Ramaphosa emphasizing the issue of Mozambique being very much endowed with quite large quantities of gas, and saying that the two nations really should collaborate together in terms of making sure that they are able to make sure that they deal with this particular crisis, especially around economic growth. We know that in South Africa, the issue of load shedding really has become a buzzword, which is very concerning for the business community. So hence this particular call. But apart from that, we know that the issue of the northern parts of Mozambique has always been dominant, especially with the presence of the insurgency. That issue once again had quite a very special focus as leaders really just looked at ways to strengthen the SADC mission that is currently deployed in Cabo Delgado, and that's the province in the northern part of Mozambique.
So what about the economic cooperation between the two countries? Any significant announcements coming out from either of the presidents this afternoon?
Well, precisely, Nompu, especially because when you look at the linkages between South Africa and Mozambique, you know, there are so many affinities between these two nations. You have over 300 South African companies who are playing a very pivotal role in terms of the economy of Mozambique. You look at the banking sector, the likes of FNB and many other banks as well that are mainly located in South Africa that have ventured into the very markets of Mozambique. You look at the likes of Harlot and also many other sectors as well. So that was also a very central focus between the two leaders in terms of deepening the cooperation, working together, and also in the main making sure that they create jobs, especially for the young people, because in two countries this is a very big concern when it comes to the socio-economic development, especially among the young people, and making sure that they are absorbed into the job market.
We know that South Africa and other African nations have come to the aid of Mozambique in terms of the terrorism issue that it faces in the Cabo Delgado area. Were there any announcements or briefings made around that?
President Ramaphosa Nompu made a very important remarks where he said the current crisis facing Mozambique around the rise of terrorism, this is a common challenge that South Africa is willing to go through with Mozambique in terms of making sure that they repel the terror attacks and be able to deal with this particular scourge. In fact, now the binational commission has been concluded. It's one thing that once again came quite sharply, where the two leaders recommitted themselves in terms of working together, in terms of making sure that the troops as well are well catered for. In fact, I spoke to South Africa's Defence Minister, Thandi Modise, and she made it very clear that these troops really, from time to time, may not really have all the adequate supplies, but they're really working so hard in terms of supporting them, making sure that they are provided with all the necessary kit. And there's a great deal of appreciation from Mozambique in terms of making sure that they are able to reconstruct that part of Mozambique, especially now because the reconstruction project is underway. The people in that region who were internally displaced are finally heading back home. They're reworking, revitalizing their life and making sure that they're able to bounce back.
And lastly, Khayelihle, what is happening next? Of course, the two presidents have just given a briefing. What can we expect for the rest of the day?
So now, in terms of the binational commission meeting that has been concluded, so now the big task will be with the ministers now and their deputy ministers and the officials in the department, especially because quite a number of departments really attended. We saw the defense and military veterans, Minister Thandi Modise here, alongside the Minister of Trade and Competition, Ibrahim Patel. So you can really see the very significance of today alongside the police minister. We know that the issue of cross-border crime as well, it's one of the major challenges. You look at the northern part of KwaZulu-Natal with the porosity of the borders of South Africa. It's always a major concern where quite a number of cars are being hijacked from South Africa and then crossing to Mozambique. So when I spoke to the police minister, Khayelihle, there was an assurance that there should be a joint venture between their counterparts in Mozambique so that the criminals are not able to benefit. The issue of immigration as well is very critical. The Minister of Home Affairs has been attending this particular session. We know that there is quite a grand plan of making sure that the Lubombo border post between South Africa and Mozambique is able to operate for a period of 24 hours because from time to time the congestion of the trucks trying to move from Johannesburg to Maputo, from time to time, it really just creates the bottlenecks and hinders the trade that should be seamless. So it's one of the considerations really that has been taken into account.
Khayelihle, Khumalo, thank you very much for that report.